The Swan Princess was based on Swan Lake, but was Swan Lake based on any pre-existing fairy tale? The origins of Swan Lake are pretty murky, but there is some evidence to suggest that a couple of folktales may have inspired its plot. Russia's The White Duck is one of them, and to me the more compelling folk inspiration for the ballet.
Fucked up fairy tales with Liz.
Once upon a time, there was a pair of newlyweds, a prince and a princess who had just begun to enjoy married life before the prince was called off on a journey. What kind of journey, you ask? Ah, gentle audience, you have forgotten that folk tales are very skimpy on the details. Fill in the damn blank yourself. Before he left, the prince had some advice for his wife. Honey, in order to stay safe, do not leave your apartments and the company of your handmaids. And definitely do not consort with evil people or take their dangerous advice. Well, gosh darn it, I had my calendar full of lunches with evil people and their dangerous advice. I guess I'll just cancel all that and stay home all day. So that's what she did. After a long time or a short time, a charming turn of phrase from the old Russian fairy tale that reminds us once again that folk tales are skimpy on the details. An old woman visited the princess. She had a kind face, so the princess took an audience with her. It's a beautiful day outside. Why keep yourself holed up in this house? Let's take a walk in the garden. You know, that is a perfectly reasonable suggestion. What a gorgeous estate you have. Oh, look at that bubbling spring. Wouldn't a dip in the water be so delicious on a hot day like today? You know, that is a perfectly reasonable idea. I agree, princess. Fortunately for her and for all of oldie-time womankind, by straying from her house for one goddamn day, the princess allowed herself to be tricked. For the old woman was a witch! Who could have seen that coming? Literally all of you. As the princess stepped into the bubbling brook, the old witch slapped her on the back and cried, "Bitch, you're a duck now!" Which I'm sure is more eloquent in the old Russian. Oh no! Quack! The princess anamorphed into a white duck. As she quacked and flapped about, the witch put on the princess's garb and she transformed her own damn face to look like the princess. Soon I'll have that little ducky and the husband will be mine. Honey, I'm home. Welcome back, hubby. I like the new look. Very sexy. A little overboard with the eye makeup, though. Shut up. Ooh, you're mean now. So that's about as close to the Swan Lake plot that we are gonna get. An evil magic person transforms a lady into a bird, and another evil person takes the lady's place. But there's much more to this fairy tale. After her quacky transformation, get it? The white duck became a mother. She laid eggs which bore 3 sons. Now, at this point in the translation of the tale that I read, it was very unclear if the sons were people or ducks. They were born of duck eggs, but by the end they're human and there's no moment where they're explicitly transformed. The only description we get at this time is that 2 of the sons were handsome, and the 3rd son was so small that he was kept in one of the older one's breast pocket for protection. Eventually it is cleared up, but since it was a mystery to me, I'm leaving it a mystery to you. The duck princess raised her children well. She taught them to fish, to sew, and made sure they had time to frolic and play. Unfortunately, one day the kids frolicked too far right into their father's yard. And there they were caught by the witch in disguise. She lured the kids to the palace where she fed them and put them to bed. But the tiny son couldn't fall asleep, and he saw the witch hanging a pot over the fire and sharpening her knives. So he was pretty sure that she was getting ready to eat them. The tiny son told the witch that he knew the score. So the witch took the hand of a corpse and waved it over the children, killing them softly. Na 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 na, whoa whoa. The next day the white duck called to her children, but they didn't come to her side. She immediately thought of the witch who had it out for her and flew to the palace. She spied her children pale and lifeless through a window, so she frantically flew to the courtyard where the prince and his impostor wife were sitting.
Quack, quack, quack! My children I lack. I soothed all their fears. I dried all their tears. I made sure they were fed, but now they are dead.
Look at that duck! I think it's giving a eulogy.
Somebody had too many Bloody Marys at brunch today. Get that fucking duck out of the yard!
No, wait. I think she's still speechifying.
Quack, quack, quack! Your wife is a quack. That witch took my life, became your false wife, turned me and our sons into ducks one by one.
So there it is confirmed. The sons were duckified in the womb. And I'm kind of disappointed that full-grown children didn't burst out of tiny duck eggs.
Okay, this is all starting to sound a little familiar. Catch that duck.
The prince's attendants tried to catch the white duck, but she flew circles around them. Only when the prince outstretched his own arms did the duck allow him to catch her. And the prince suddenly revealed that he could do magic.
Bitch be a lovely maiden again.
Okay, he wasn't quite so blunt.
Behind me a birch tree, before me my wife.
The princess anamorphed back into herself.
Yay!
And a birch tree sprung up behind the prince for some folkloric reason that I can't figure out. Hurriedly, the prince and the princess caught a magpie and sent it out to retrieve the water of life and the water of speech to save their sons. The bird brought those back, and the children were revived, and presumably turned back into people. So it was time for some gory revenge. The witch was tied to the tail of a horse and dragged across a field, which frankly seems like punishment for the horse as well. During the bumpy ride, the witch's leg was torn off and it transformed into an iron poker. Then her arm was torn off and it turned into a rake. Then her head was torn off and it turned into a bush. And then vultures ate the rest of her. The end. The next week, I will share another fairy tale that some believe influenced Swan Lake, though I personally do not see much of a connection besides that there are ladies that turn into swans. Until then, I hope you are well, and I'll see you for the next fucked up fairy tale.